Hello, human peoples. You're listening to the podcast network of Gamefully Unemployed. To support us and gain access to great exclusive podcasts like Fox Mulder is a Maniac, Tom and Jeff Watch Batman, Star Trek The Next Futurama, and our latest show, Spiel Boys, head over to patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. We do game streaming, movie nights with our patrons every Friday night, and you can even commission your own podcast about anything you want. Literally anything, within reason, and we have to do it. You are quite frankly out of excuses not to go visit patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. That's patreon.com/GAMEFULLY unemployed, which is spelled like it sounds.
Jason 10.
How do you say
X
it?
for 10.
Jasonix.
Jasonix. Jasonix.
Or J-Songs. Shouldn't that have been Jason Takes Manhattan? No, that would have been Jason Takes the Bronx.
Right. Jonks.
Yeah, Jonks.
Sure.
We got there.
Oh, man. We have so few episodes left. We only have like 2. Freddy versus Jason and then the remake.
The remake.
That's
it. That's all the Jason.
My
That's all
goodness,
there
folks.
is.
This is another episode of MASKHOLES.
It sure is. And we are your MASKHOLES.
We are your MASKHOLES. I'm the left one, David Bell. You're the right one, Tom Ryman.
That's correct, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know. If you haven't listened to this podcast, listen. First of all, big thank you to our producer, Krishnanovich.
Thank you.
Who made this happen. Seriously, thank you so much. Because it's wild that we hadn't had a podcast about Friday the 13th.
It's weird that we didn't do this, yeah. It's weird that this wasn't our idea. So thank you, Krishnanovich.
It's so obvious.
Yeah.
And so, Krishnanovich did this, had us watch all the Friday the 13th movies, and we're going to talk about the movies from Jason's perspective. We're going to rate the best kills. We'll talk about the movie in general. If you haven't watched the previous, you should. It really starts getting cooking, like, I don't know. I mean, they're all fun, but like...
It really gets fun at part 6.
Yeah, that's the series in general. Like, if you haven't watched the Friday the 13th
Lives
movies...
is where you start.
Yeah. Start there and then go backwards and then go back through.
Right. Yeah, if you start with him as Goofy. So you can watch the earlier ones, and they're funnier.
Yeah, they are. But we are at Jason X. This is the 10th one, hence X.
Man, yeah.
It's weird.
I think the longest gap in between Friday the 13th movies.
Yeah, this is 2001, and this is firmly the first one that is like, this is the 2000s now, and you can feel it.
I think it's actually 2000, or is it 2001?
2001. Okay. I looked it up. Yeah. It's just so early.
It's 2000s. It's the most early 2000s thing ever. Yeah.
It's got like early Starbucks aesthetic. Does that make sense?
Yes.
It's got
all the sweaters.
That colors.
So many sweaters in space.
Yeah. And then it's got like lightly the Spy Kids aesthetic of like these metallic spray painted, clearly plastic props.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And like
it's
everything
a real
sort of
Star Trek
looks
set.
Yeah, they have that hallway that looks like a Hot Topic. That's like that steel fencing.
Mm-hmm.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful film is the point.
It's awesome, yeah.
It was developed apparently while Freddy vs. Jason was still in development, which obviously you could probably guess why Freddy vs. Jason took a little longer.
It's a rights
it's two
thing.
different IPs. Yeah.
They got to argue over who gets what and et cetera, et
It's
cetera.
just
It was
funny
the
how-
90s version of the Spider-Man dust up. These are the next two most significant pop culture characters for sure.
Yeah, and we need to get back to this. This should be the Marvel and Sony.
Right, it was of the 80s.
Yeah, it should be that again.
We need to have fucking weird undead serial killers become pop culture megastars again.
Yeah.
Remember when they just had Freddy toys?
Oh,
Toys
yeah.
R Us. Anyway.
We need a neglected child versus a molester series again.
Mm-hmm.
I guess Freddy, depending, is he a confirmed child molester
and murderer?
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. It's perfect though when you think. We'll talk about this, I guess, in the next one, but it's poetic.
It is.
Jason is like a child who's been neglected versus a guy who abuses children. it's fitting.
I mean, it's not like, yeah, we're going to talk a lot about it in that movie, but it is funny that they're like, well, obviously you're going to be rooting for Jason, right?
You're right, exactly. They figured this out over time because they're right. Like the Nightmare on Elm Street, they don't really make Freddy like the fun guy
you're
you're
not rooting for Freddy, really.
No,
like because he's fun. He makes stuff like now I'm playing with power while he's killing Breckenmeyer with the power glove.
But you don't want to hang out with him.
No.
Yeah.
No.
With Jason, I'm like, I can change him. Maybe I can
fix him.
Yeah. It's so funny how nihilistic this is because the 9th movie, Jason Goes to Hell, ends with Freddy dragging Jason to hell. And so you'd think they'd be like, no, we have to follow it up with Freddy versus Jason. And they're like, nah, fuck it. Put him in space. In this, like, it's like a standalone. Like, it doesn't really link to any of the other premises.
It's in the far future, so it still could.
You're right. Yeah, you're right. This is just after he fought. Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Although I guess according to the lore of this film, he was frozen cryogenically, but he was frozen sometime in the 2000s. We don't know when.
Yes. It was
before 2055.
Yes.
Because she says later it's 2455 and she says it's over 400 years I've been asleep.
Right. Yeah, we're in last year we banned hockey.
We did. Yeah,
did you
2024
catch that?
we banned hockey.
Yeah. This was created by Todd Farmer, who I believe directed it, probably wrote it. He also plays Dallas, the bald guy with the goatee.
He definitely wrote it.
One of the Space Marines.
But
yeah, he very clearly. You don't really need to know this from behind the scenes. He clearly modeled it after Alien.
Yeah.
Or rather, Aliens, plural,
right.
because
It's very clear this dude was a fan of Aliens.
Yes.
Just wanted to make Aliens with Jason.
This movie, I don't know if famously is the word, but strangely has David Cronenberg in it.
It does.
And I looked up why, and it turns out that they were using for especially the beginning, which opens inside Jason, for that beginning, they were using his effects team. And Cronenberg was like, you can use my effects team, but I have to be in the movie.
Yeah,
and they're like, okay. Yeah, and that's as far as we know. Why I know why I would want to be in this, but
well, I can imagine. Also, his death might have been his idea. Like Cronenberg comes in there and says, "Okay, I want to be the creepy Jason doctor, and also he needs to scorpion me."
Yeah, and they're like, "Yep, sounds good, man."
I realized that could mean one of two things.
Yeah, and they're like, listen...
Jason does not pull his mask off and burn him. So it's the other thing.
It's the get over here.
It's the get over here.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, if people want to watch this movie, go watch
scorpion someone? We learn
take off his mask.
We learn from this film that his blood is made of hell.
Yeah, you're right. Because I love the idea of him doing it way late in the game and people being like, he could do that this whole time?
Shit, he can do that?
Fuck.
It cuts to him. He looks kind of surprised.
Yeah, he's like, I thought I was going to puke on him. Yeah, his blood is made of hell.
Looking at his mask. Like, huh. But yes, his blood is made of hell. They show us that in the beginning. Yeah,
and so basically the story is Jason is at Crystal Lake, like a facility lab, is being held by David Cronenberg, who wants him soft, and is going to like dissect him to like save the world.
Yeah,
and then Jason gets
the key
away.
to immortality, specifically because Jason can't die.
Yeah, which is fair.
Yeah,
Jason gets away. He gets in a cryo chamber that they just have. He stabs through the machine, which I just think is really funny because it's like tinfoil. And one of the people working at the lab gets frozen with him. 400 years later, Earth is a hellhole.
It's dead. We have Earth 2.
We have Earth 2 now, which I think I'm a big fan of. If we ever have to relocate Earth, we call the second Earth Earth 2.
Just call it Earth 2.
Yeah, that's so funny. That's such a funny thing.
It's extremely funny. Yeah.
And they go down, they recover him. They recover the lady, and I guess we'll get more into it. They think they can like get money off of Jason. We'll go into it later. And he wakes up because everybody has sex simultaneously on the ship.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an alien, but with Jason. And it's like they send some space marines who they cannot replicate the charm of aliens.
They sure can.
They really try. They're like razzing each other, and it's like, ooh, God.
just doesn't quite work. It just because it looks like a bunch of people playing laser tag. They just don't have the money to quite pull it off.
They don't have the money, and it's like, that's okay.
Yeah, who cares?
Yeah.
I don't care. I like that they're romping through a laser tag arena to find Jason.
Yeah, I guess at the top of this because I feel like we've talked about this with the others. How do you like Jason X compared to like the whole series?
It's fine. I didn't get on board with Jason X quite as much as everybody else because
well, here's the thing.
I don't know. I just felt it was a little like Jason Lives is still the zenith to me. This one felt just a little too corny. I don't know how to. I mean, but it is corny. So I don't know quite how to describe it.
Here's the thing. This is where nostalgia bias comes in. And what I realized is that, like, you know, like when you start seeing nostalgia for the mid 2000s, early 2000s, and you're like, "Fuck you, man! That era sucked." I was sentient. Like I was 20 something. I was working at a movie theater when Jason X came out.
Yeah.
And so I remember how much this time sucked. And this, for me, just felt like an extension of what's now like this like charming, nostalgic era. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Which is like, I wonder about the Jason movies in general, which is like, if you were like in your 20s in 1980, whatever, and there was like the fourth Friday the 13th came out, and all that 80s shit was just pandering to the pop culture that you were experiencing right then and there, it's probably less charming. It's probably like kind of pathetic to see like we're teens and they're all doing like the very stereotypical. And now we look back and it's like, oh, that's so adorable and fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, they're all archetypes.
Yes. So, but I think watching Jason X, when I first watched it, this all felt like, because I was experiencing the era that it's now emulating.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't feel like, it's not cheesy the way you look back on it now and go like, that's fun and cheesy. It's like, at the time it was like, well, this is just what's happening.
Yeah.
Like these sweaters are just the
sweaters
style.
Are just in hot young people wear lots of sweat. Genuinely, every single character wears a sweater at least at one point.
We'll get into it, but I had the hardest fucking time telling these people apart. I once paused it. I was watching with Hannah, and I was like, Hannah, look at what I'm dealing with. And it was like a shot of the two. It's like Janessa and the main character next to each other, and it's like they're just identically dressed, brown hair. It's just like it was these honkies are so fucking, like, they look so alike and they blend together.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll get into it. They all fuck each other.
They sure do.
Like, yeah, all right. Well, yeah.
I mean, I think I like it more now than I did before, but
yeah,
I think my initial gripe with it still stands in that my biggest disappointment in it was the kills.
That's what I wanted to get to. Is it's the kills aren't as fun.
They're kind of weak
brutal.
and not as fun. There's a couple really great ones. Well, yes, actually, there's one really great one. It's
there's
liquid
one
nitrogen.
That everybody knows.
Yeah.
You know. But that is the thing. Is like watching this again. I'm like, I do have more of a warm feeling for looking back with nostalgia on how cheesy this is. Like the Jason movies seem to have a talent of knowing, like, this is something that people have to enjoy 10 years from now. And we have to unironically commit to the styles of now. And like even Jason X sort of seems to know that. You know what I mean?
Right. But I think my problem, and corny probably wasn't right, ironic. Like, it winks at the camera too much, I think. Yes. Like, Jason...
Oh, yeah. We love premarital sex, that scene.
Yeah. And just some of the lines that some of the characters say are a little meta. But like Jason Lives, I guess, just looked more... It looked more authentic, I guess, and there was less of the meta stuff in it.
Right, because here's the thing. There is meta stuff in the other ones, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fine line. I think ultimately for me, I'm like, the kills are weak.
That's the main thing.
Are they going for PG-13 for this? No, because there's boobs.
No, but it does seem like they had to cut out a lot. And that was sort of with the past couple of Jason movies, like Part 7 got really heavily cut. Part 9, Jason Goes to Hell, got really heavily cut. Although I think you and I watched the director's cut, which is better.
Yeah, we did.
And this one seems kind of like weirdly sanitized in that way. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know why they do that with these.
I guess it's maybe they get shit when there's a bunch of nudity and also a bunch of gore, and they're like, you got to lose one.
Yeah.
So,
well, we got to keep the nudity.
Oh, we're keeping the nudity, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do appreciate. I will talk more about this in Freddy vs. Jason because I'm like, if I recall, the movie feels very 2003.
It is electrifyingly mid-aughts, yeah.
And we've talked about this. We've talked about what we would do if we wrote a Jason movie. And one thing we would have to remember is make it aggressively of its time. That is something they do where it's like you look at Jason X and you're like, shouldn't this be timeless because it's the future? And it's like, no.
Nope.
100% no. You make it of its time in an embarrassing degree so that future archaeologists will look back and go like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
This is dumb and awesome. I just wish, the kills. You're working with the future. You can have different.
You're in space. Yeah. I feel like didn't quite do enough with the space thing. I got a little bit of like Leprechaun in space where it was just they felt like, or like the most recent Fast and Furious where they felt like we're going to space was enough to carry it. It's like, no, you got to do a little something with it. This one does more than Fast and Furious.
But you're right.
But yeah.
They alien resurrection a woman and we don't see it. And it's like, what are we doing?
We just see the aftermath, which is cool, but it also kind of feels like, well, we see it in Alien Resurrection.
You know what it is? So that's actually that scene because she says this sucks on so many levels and gets sucked off. That actually to me is the key to what makes this movie not work, which is that who says this sucks on so many levels before dying? That's meta, right? That's winking at the camera. Mm-hmm. And I don't think the other Jason movies really did it that directly, where a person is in peril, they're about to die, and they're like, talk about it sucking, am I right, folks? And then dying, you know?
The closest I can think of is take your best shot, motherfucker, and then he punches his head off.
Right. But yeah,
but he didn't say try to knock my head off.
Exactly. Like I think that's what it is this one kind of breaks its own rules with its meta humor.
A little bit.
Where the characters don't feel like they're in danger if they're like it's a funny line, but it's going to take more than that to kill me or whatever. Then that ought to do it.
That ought to do it.
It's like that's a funny line, but
Who's
doesn't
he making
actually
that joke
feel...
for? Jason?
Yeah.
Is he trying to make Jason laugh?
He is. He apparently is. And it's lines like that where it's like...
What if he did laugh?
If under the mask... We've talked about this before. It'd be so funny if at one point under the mask you just hear... It'd be so good.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of what, should we talk about what Jason is up to?
We should, man. I love what he's up to in this movie.
Yeah, it begins with him woken up in a tech lab in Crystal Lake. And I just want to know what happened to get him to this point. Last we saw him, he had been dragged to hell.
Yeah.
And like, I guess Freddy vs. Jason will have happened. And it's just so funny that like, even he looks kind of like, how did I get here? What is all of this?
Yeah.
But they got him.
Yeah, he's kind of looking around. He's all chained up. He's actively looking around, too, so we don't know how long he's been there, just kind of looking around.
Yeah, there's a few points. Jason goes on an incredible journey in this one.
We get to see, one of my favorite things is when we get to watch Jason make a decision.
Yeah.
Because it's where, like, some of the mime comes in the strongest. And we get to watch him do that a few times in this movie, and it's like when he's lost on the spaceship, he kind of like stops and looks left and right. Yeah. He's like, well, I guess I'll go right. You know?
Yeah. He's going on like a 2001 Space Odyssey level adventure.
Yeah.
Like he starts on Earth.
He's going to see the giant baby.
Yeah. And he ends up on a different planet when this ends.
Earth 2.
Yeah. But right now, so he's there. He immediately sets up a little surprise. He kills the lab tech and puts him in his place. He props him up, ties him up, and covers him.
Yep.
And then he hides in this warehouse that is very bizarre. And he just hides in the darkness, right? Like how far?
This is Jason, right? I have this later in our notes, but Jason's great at compartmentalizing. He wakes up in this situation. He's just like, well, I'm just gonna do me.
Exactly. Where he's just like, all right, normally there's trees and brush here, but I'm just gonna stand off to the side in the darkness. And they usually don't find, Yeah. They usually don't.
They usually don't look over here.
He follows a lady into a cryo lab and gets frozen.
He does, and he stops in front of the cryopods, though. Like, he stops and kind of, like, looks at them. Like, he seems to understand that they're bad for him, that he shouldn't go near them.
Jason, the one thing they've done with Jason, which I will say, it's interesting because it's like he started in the woods for a while, living in a shack, shitting in a broken toilet, hunting squirrels and killing them. And then he slowly, he slowly moved out more. And then he got on a boat. And then he got to the city.
Big city, yeah.
Yeah, and then he went to hell and he possessed people's bodies. So at this point, he's like a little like, he's out of his element still. He couldn't get a job or anything. And who knows where he's been when this movie starts. But yeah, I can see him looking at a cryo chamber and being like, people have tried to lock me in things a lot.
Don't want to go, I should stay away from that.
Yeah, like ovens and walk-in freezers and stuff. This is probably one of those.
Yeah. Yeah,
but
I have something to bring up later when we get to the liquid nitrogen scene related to this.
Yes. Oh my God. So he gets frozen, but not before stabbing a lady through. And I just love that because she has her face right up to the freezer. Mm-hmm. And I feel like his calculation is like, but what if I could just stab her through this?
He's going to give it a shot.
Yeah. I just love that. It's like, no, don't get too close. He's going to try. He's going to try to stab
it's
you.
Like, it's always great when it happens in movies, even though it's a trope. But when somebody's getting like real close and talking shit and the other person just headbutts them.
Yeah. And it's like, oh yeah, that'll take the wind out of your sails.
Yeah. Maybe don't get in Jason's face.
I've been headbutted before, and it just like, you're like, I need a moment now. I'm gonna need a long beat. It's a funny thing to do.
It is. It's a great. It's like a throat punch.
It is.
It's very funny.
Yeah. So this is my question is, does he know that he's frozen while he's frozen?
I think so. I think it's a Demolition Man sitch. I think he's awake the whole time.
A group of people come down. They're all dressed like Star-Lord, by the way. Mm-hmm. Did you notice that they all look like Star-Lords?
They do. They're all wearing space trench coats.
Yeah, and they find Jason, and he falls. His frozen statue falls and cuts off a guy's arm.
Yep.
And I'd like to think Jason is conscious for that. And like
he probably willed himself to fall.
That's the question. He's like, did he do it?
He's like barely thawed out, but he's like rocking back and forth trying to make himself.
Yeah, do you
fall.
think his soul inside of him is rocking back and forth?
I do.
Come on, chop him.
I do, because evidence suggests later that Jason is part of the spirit world and can interact with things he shouldn't be able to.
I agree that Jason goes to hell as well, which is like, I think largely like he has figured out, I think he is so driven by wanting to murder people.
Mm-hmm.
He is so singularly driven. No one's that driven, right?
No.
Like if all I wanted to do in life is eat a sandwich.
Right.
And no, it was literally all I did.
No matter what. Yeah. You are going to relentlessly pursue the ingredients, make that sandwich and eat it.
And then when I died, I would imagine that's what my soul would just be doing.
Yeah, your immortal spirit.
And if I was frozen, that's all. I would still be. My body would be slowly inching towards sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think in this moment, Jason's like, "How do I cut someone open while frozen?"
Right, because his tube has been open for 2 minutes. 450 years. His tube is open 2 minutes. He manages to dismember someone.
Yeah. I also want to talk about how funny the concept of frozen Jason is. because I wish they cut to his eyes like moving a little bit to show, but like he spent so much of his life on the bottom of a lake,
in chains,
frozen in chains. He spent so much time just not being able to move. And it's so funny because it's sort of chicken or the egg, where it's like at a certain point, do you blame him? Where it's like he's sitting at the bottom of the lake just with the same shitty glare, just like, I'm going to kill so many fucking people when they let me out of here.
Yeah.
I'm just going to kill
Just
them.
getting
And
madder and madder, right? All he's doing is spinning himself up.
Right.
Like he's like, oh, those motherfuckers were off having sex and I drowned and now I'm here at the bottom of this fucking lake. And then, he's been doing that for 450 years.
Right. Do you think if we just let him be just once, he would kill like 500 people and then just stop and like take a breath and be like, so what else is in the world?
We have proven that if you stay away from Crystal Lake, he won't bother you.
Right. And now it's like the world is bothering him.
Yes.
Like he's on the spaceship. It's
that is how it's always been.
Yeah.
He's not going out.
Yeah.
They're coming to him.
Or they're bringing him somewhere in this case.
They come to his place and then they take him somewhere.
Yeah. All you have to do is stay away and he'll probably tire himself out and then just chill out. That's it.
He didn't mean to go to Manhattan.
Right.
Somebody pulled him on a fucking boat. No, he climbed on that boat and that boat just rode all the way into the ocean.
And so it's just like, just leave him be. And so
stop going to that camp.
To watch him frozen being dragged around into space, and you can just know the rage building inside of him. Mm-hmm. And then they slap him on an autopsy table, and the lady yanks at his eyeball. And I'm just thinking, like, he must be getting so mad.
Right. And once again, they landed their spaceship in Crystal Lake. These people won't stop going to Crystal Lake.
Yeah.
If you stay away from there, he won't bother you.
Yeah. Yeah, you can imagine Jason frozen like, well, at least I get some peace, and then hearing a spaceship land. Like, what the fuck is this? And then everybody's fucking. He brings the
fuck. As soon as they lay him on the table, that one lady's like, oh, he must be hung like a mammoth, and then starts making out with her dude. And then they're like, and then the doctor is like, if you guys can't help me, just go fuck. And they're like, really? And she's like, yeah, just go do it. And then they gallop off. So it's as soon as she puts Jason on the table, they start boning. The professor starts boning Janessa.
I thought
the one dude is curse. The one dude's putting nips on his robot so they can bonk.
So you think it's a curse that Jason brings horniness?
I don't know if it's a curse, but it definitely is here. Like, I don't know if he just
Jason's curse. I think he keeps being cursed to be, because he's picked up by essentially the horniest ship in the galaxy.
Yes.
And I kind of assumed it was like just my luck for Jason, where it's like, of course, the people who pick me up are the horniest fucking teens or college kids in the goddamn galaxy of all the people.
That's good for him though, because their horniness is what rejuvenates him. It's what resurrects him. Yeah, and then gets him back recharged to Crystal Lake in the end.
Yeah, he's woken up by sex.
It's such a what a torturous existence, because he both hates it and needs it.
Right. I do like the version where he makes people horny. Like there's some pheromone he's wafting.
It's his curse. Like,
yeah.
It's like a mummy's curse when you open the sarcophagus.
Yeah. So he gets up. He does liquid nitrogen.
He sure does. But I want to talk about this.
Yeah, because
this suggests two things. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I'll just explain. We'll explain it more. But like, he drowns the lady in liquid. He dips her head. Her head freezes, and he yanks it out and smashes her head. Mm-hmm. Go on, Tom.
It suggests that he understands what liquid nitrogen does.
Mm-hmm.
He knows what it is, what happens, the properties of it, can identify it on sight. He watched a lot of Mr. Wizard, I guess. Jason has a superpower that we don't talk about a lot. That doesn't get discussed as much, but he will suddenly gain understanding of complex systems like he's plugged into the Matrix.
In order to kill.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If it will result in him killing somebody in a whimsical fashion.
Yeah, like, so I would not be surprised if at some point someone's at like a car factory and Jason sees the robots and Jason sits down at a computer and like programs the robot.
Composition notebook, like, okay, like write down all this code.
Yeah, like he programs a robot to kill someone. You're right.
Yeah.
Where Jason seems to have an immediate understanding of the world around him, no matter what.
When he needs to.
Yeah.
The second thing is that Jason can read. Although I guess we already knew this because he tracked down the lady from the first movie by looking her up in the phone book.
Yeah, so Jason
can read. Okay.
It's a chilling realization that you have to remember. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like this guy is reading.
It's like realizing the Raptors can open doors.
Right,
like,
because it's also
he
like
can read.
Yeah, because it also implies a level of intelligence that you just don't attribute to him.
At the very minimum, it means he understands English.
Yes. It's horrifying.
Yeah. He knows what you're saying to him.
Yeah.
And he understands context. So.
Right. He reads books.
Sometimes he does. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
When you put on his mom's sweater, it throws him for a loop. But
right. But it's possible that Jason, when he's not killing, is opening up a book.
Right. He's just sitting there reading.
Yeah.
He's
getting
reading
the Fight Club.
He's getting all the rental, all the, you can get the library books on your Kindle.
Yeah.
He's just doing that.
Jason operating an iPad is a very funny thought to me.
Just reading all the Hardy Boys mysteries.
Right.
Because he's mentally stunted as a child.
He smashes the head and then he finds a surgical machete just laid out for him.
He does. This is one part where we get to watch him make a decision because he looks at the tray of surgical tools and his hand kind of glides over them. He almost gets the bone saw because you're like, well, obviously, but then it pans over and there's a surgical machete. And you see Jason be like, well, obviously.
Yeah, and I feel like even Jason is like, the fuck is this?
I don't think this is an actual medical tool, but I'm glad it's here.
Yeah. Wild thing I'm so glad it's in this movie.
Mm-hmm. He does seem to not like it because when he finds his machete at the end, he's like, no, I want that.
Oh, I get it, where it's like
it's
nothing
his.
like home. Yeah.
That's my machete. Yeah.
Yeah.
This one has the tape grip that I put on it.
Yep. Next he stabs Stoney, one of the characters.
Oh, Dave, sorry. It's his prestiged machete.
You're right.
It's his gold machete from Call of Duty.
Machete. You're right. That's what it is. He's like, I've gotten the most kills on this.
Yeah. No, I put so many hours into that machete. No,
yeah.
No. You know how much XP is on that thing?
I get it because it's like, it's mine. I know the weight of it. It's just,
it's my machete.
Yeah. He stabs the guy and takes him into the hallway while his girlfriend screams.
It's a real Dracula death.
Yeah, you pointed out in the notes that he's done this before. It's just very funny.
Done it once before. He did it to the cop. Jason Takes Manhattan.
He does stealth kills every now and then. And I think you brought up Call of Duty just now. And like, when you play video games, Tom, when you get bored and you're like, I'm just going to do stealth. Or like, I'm going to go in loud. You're just changing up your tactic to
It's usually the opposite
yourself.
For me. My default is I try to be quiet. And then when I really want to treat myself, I'm like, okay, let's go loud.
Yeah. Like Assassin's Creed was one of those where it's like, I would argue, it doesn't matter. But like where, if you have the option.
Hitman's a big one for me.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, Hitman's a great version of what he's doing.
Of what Jason is doing, exactly.
Yeah. I've done Hitman levels where I'm like, can I kill them all by throwing an axe? Just dressed as a clown. Like it's that game, right?
Yep.
And so
yes.
like, yeah, the answer is yes.
If you work it out, yeah, you have to do it. But anyway.
And so this is a lot of that. So he takes Stoney, I guess, to go do something with him.
I guess to eat him.
I think to eat him, maybe.
I think he's also years. He needs to replenish some strength, although he doesn't seem to be at a loss for strength.
Right. I think he also is probably wondering where the fuck he is right now, because
right. You think he pulls the guy into the hallway and it's like, okay, where am I?
Yeah. What is this?
I need you to answer. That's why he doesn't kill him instantly.
I love the version of Jason that once he realizes he's in space, he's like, okay, I'm cool. It's cool, everybody. It's cool. I'm just going to do this now. Space is cool.
Yeah.
I'm done killing people. I want to become an astronaut.
Space. What if?
Yeah.
What if at the end when he's coming rocketing back toward the ship, what if he's just like, guys, I want to be an astronaut now.
Yeah.
I'm on my first spacewalk. It's awesome.
This is awesome. I can be so useful. I don't need air.
Yeah.
I don't need oxygen.
He's just swimming toward a star.
Yeah.
When I get there in 3 trillion years, I'm gonna stab everything. And again, he's just spinning himself up the whole time. He's just getting more and more
just
pissed
getting more and more.
for 3 trillion years.
Damn, this is how this movie should have ended with him drifting
With him in
through
space, right?
Yeah, that's actually how you end it.
They wanted to do it's what
cute.
they did is
The ending
cute
is
too.
cute.
It's cute too, but the better one would have been just him floating out in space.
Yeah, and you just show
landing
him,
on
like,
an alien planet, and the aliens are like,
yeah.
and Jason's like, I don't know what the fuck these are, but they're getting macheted.
That'd be so good. But yeah, so he grabs the guy, and I think again he's not quite sure where he is. Like he doesn't know he's in space yet.
No,
I think
he doesn't know what
am I still in the facility?
Is
right. Yeah, you're right. He doesn't know about. I mean, I assume he felt the passage of time, but he's like, I could just be on Earth still. He wanders into a holodeck, and that's even more difficult for him to understand. And for us to understand,
right.
frankly.
Because it's these two dudes playing like a shooter game, but Jason is in it and is able to interact with the enemies and also with their avatars. Like he dismembers Azrael again, but in a digital world. And then it turns off, and the other guys are sitting on opposite end of the room with headsets on. It's like, so how is Jason in it? And seeing the hologram.
Jason be wearing the headset? That would be amazing if he had sat down
he
and
like
participated.
Right. If it when the hologram went away and he was sitting cross-legged on the floor too with a controller and a headset on.
Yeah, just playing along. But no, like I don't know how the holodeck works. So Jason is correct to be confused here.
I think it's because he's partially in the spirit world. So he can see holograms. He could probably see Al if he was on Quantum Leap.
You're right.
And he'd be trying to stab him, and nobody would know what the hell he was doing.
They do this multiple times with the holodeck, and it's funny because it's like, just don't write it that way. Like, just don't write it that way. Mostly they want Jason to just be on a holodeck. Yeah. So why are they doing this Matrix plugging in thing?
Right. You don't need it in Star Trek. Yeah.
Yeah. Just don't write it that
there.
way. It can't be both things, but I guess it is both.
It is both things, and it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
I like watching Jason be confused by a shooting game. Like they're shooting at a giant monster. He's like, the shit?
Yeah, and he's like, can I just chop it? Yeah, I can just chop it.
Can I kill that thing?
Yeah.
Oh, you guys got it. Well, I chop you guys then.
Yep.
I forgot to make this joke earlier, but it is kind of like Jurassic Park. Like Cronenberg wanted Jason's DNA. Now they've thawed this Jason out in the future, and this guy wants to sell him because he's like super valuable.
It is Jurassic
like they're
Park
trying to make Jason Park. Sorry.
Oh my God, Jason Park.
Park.
feeding him sheep.
Feeding him goats.
Yeah. That'd be so good.
But he doesn't really kill animals. So it would just be
doesn't.
Jason sitting in an enclosure with 60 goats.
Petting goats.
Yeah.
Just every time a zookeeper gets too close, he nabs them.
Yeah. He trains the goats to kill.
Yeah.
He just made a huge mistake. Now he has an army of goats.
Oh, they just keep giving him goats. I love it. He goes to find Crutch, and he doesn't kill him. He like hangs out behind him, and then he gets just riddled with bullets. He takes his time with that one. He seems like he's still getting his he's
playing little games with this guy. This dude's in there doing his engineer stuff, and he's like sneaking up behind this guy. It's like, oh, I can smash this guy into some electronics.
Right.
And then the soldiers show up and light him up, and he's like, I'll be back for the electronics.
Oh yeah, I'll be back for you.
Yeah.
And now we get the sequence where all the soldiers are space marining him. First guy is Condor, which I love. Jason goes to chop him, and Condor flips in the air and does like a ninja kick. And Jason reacts the way we would if a spider landed on our arm. He goes like, whap! And just slaps him off the balcony. Because he's just like, Jesus! No. And just slaps him to his death. Onto a drill. Onto a space drill.
And he just kind of watches him spin around down the drill. It's like,
Yeah, I think he watches him and he's like, that scared me. Like, he seems scared.
Right.
It's like, geez, that guy fucking freaked me out, man.
It's like in a violent nature when he keeps chopping that dude.
Yeah.
You've scared me.
and this will come up multiple times in this, has Jason dealt with ninjas?
No.
Yeah, so like Jason dealing with someone doing a flying kick at him, that's got to be new, right?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know humans could do that.
Ninjas are pretty thin on the ground at summer camp, so yeah.
Yeah.
You'd show him the raid or something, he wouldn't know what to do.
Right. He gets shot into a crane hook and lifted. And then he just gets right off of it.
Right. There's another... I get not really a decision, but they do a close-up here where you just show his eyes looking around after he gets impaled on it, where he's just kind of like, huh.
Yeah.
All right.
I think there's a lot of him being like, what is this place? Like, it's so, like what is the use of this hook?
It's a lot it's a lot of him getting new information and just rolling with it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we have hooks. All right, I'll use it. And he does.
Yeah. And like he must assume like, yeah, this place was made just for me. It's just for killing. Like
maybe he thinks it's Jason Park.
Right. Like I'm wondering if he's like, am I being Truman Showed right now?
Am I in heaven?
Or something.
Am
I in heaven?
Did I finally vanquish enough evil
Everything's
men to go
so
to heaven?
sharp here, you know? Like
Yeah.
There's so many things I can stab people on.
It's like a future made of knives.
Yep. He kills all the Space Marines. This is where he does like stealthy.
He has a lot of Solid Snake stuff, which is very funny to watch Jason snapping people's necks.
This is where it's the fun and games where he's like, this future rocks, you know, like there's just so many people to kill and so many fun ways to do it.
He just slides right into wet work. It's awesome.
Yeah.
We should
He really does.
Jason should have been in Zero Dark 30.
Oh man, yeah. They could send Jason into wars. They should do that. They should, yeah. Sending Jason to kill Osama bin Laden is such a funny image. I love the idea, like, because it's like Jurassic Park, that how they were like, we're going to weaponize the raptor.
Exactly.
I love the version where it's like, just drop Jason
Just drop
off.
Jason into the middle of a country, yeah.
Yeah.
Middle of an enemy nation.
Yep. He goes to the cockpit, and this has to be the first time he notices he's in space. Or he might just think he's stargazing.
He might just think it's the sky.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this thing is pointing straight up.
It's possible that at no point Jason realizes he's in space, even when he's literally flying through space.
He is being propelled through space.
So he kills Lou. He chops him into pieces.
It's pretty funny. Yeah. Also, why is every pilot a cowboy?
Because they want to make Alien, right? But like, yeah, I also think The Abyss. Remember that even underwater pilots are cowboys.
Danny McBride in Alien Covenant.
Yep. I don't know why.
Slim Pickens.
Yep.
In Dr. Strangelove.
We just love that idea.
Specific reason why he's a cowboy.
Right,
anyway,
but we love that trope.
We do, it's a fun trope. It's fun.
I would argue, if you're in a cockpit, the last thing you want to wear is a big hat.
Probably.
Yeah, like that gets in the way.
But that's his character. See, he doesn't play by the rules.
Right.
He plays by his own rules.
Yeah. What's another thing we could make pilots instead of cowboys?
I mean, we were talking about ninjas earlier.
Ninjas. Yes, that would be great. Because I was going to say biker, but I think when they're not cowboys, they're bikers.
Yeah.
Like they're roughnecks in some way.
Right, when you're in the city.
Oh, I want an aristocrat. Like powdered wig.
Oh, yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we need.
Yeah. He sneaks around. He bangs on the door to confirm everybody's inside the door.
He does.
And I just like this moment where he hears all the screaming and he goes, oh, okay, they're all through there. And then he just leaps through a window. It's so
he
good.
just rolls with it. You see?
Yep. Everybody evacuates but the professor. He confronts the professor, finds his old machete.
Oh wait, did we skip over him destroying the space station? Because that's what happens after he kills the pilot.
Oh, you're right. Yes, they crash into a space station. I didn't write much about it because I don't know if Jason noticed.
Right.
I think he was too busy chopping that guy up.
It really pads his numbers, destroying an entire space station.
We'll talk about it later, but I tried to research this. But it's Jason not realizing that he's currently killing possibly millions of people.
He killed an entire city at least, yeah.
Yeah. But he doesn't realize he's too busy. And it's so beautiful because that is what Jason is like, it's not to him about the number of kills. It's about the quality of the kills. So like, of course he's more busy chopping up this guy to notice that he's committing a genocide.
Right.
Yeah.
He's focused on his artistry.
Yep. He finds his old machete, chops up the professor.
Oh, sorry. I just wanted to call it 2099-11.
2099-11. That's solid. He does do an okay.
He 9/11's a space station.
He does do a 9/11, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Jason did 9/11.
He crashes specifically through a tower.
That's incredible. I didn't even think about it that way. They probably did since this movie came out in 2001. They're like, oops. I'm guessing before.
Yeah.
I'm guessing before.
Because
otherwise
was like an August release.
Yeah, I feel like they would have cut out the part where he does a 9/11.
I feel like this came out right as I went to college.
Yeah. He keeps the professor's head.
He does.
He stabs it into his machete.
Getting back into his old tricks.
Yeah, and he just knows, like, this will be a fun surprise for my new friends.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. I don't know what I'm going to do with this head on a machete, but I know I'm going to use it.
He likes to play the little games.
Yeah, he does use it to surprise, I think, Crutch.
Specifically so that he thinks the professor has come to see him for half a second. Like, Jason specifically wants that bait and switch.
Right. For half a second is important because I don't think Crutch really ever buys that idea.
He doesn't get much. Yeah. He's not given much time for this to work.
Yeah. But he puppets them around. He corners a bunch of them. And this is where the robot attacks him. He throws a knife into her, which should work.
Yeah.
And Jason is now surprised by something. I think he should have fallen in love with this robot. Because what he's learning is that this is another creature who doesn't die when you just stab them or shoot them.
Right.
That's what he's learning.
And kills him easily.
Yeah.
So you think he'd be like, oh, shit. We need to, like, yeah. Do you want to go out sometime?
You want to hang out?
Yeah, we should go do something.
We get a light version of the Tina scene, but not as good, which is when Tina Shepard uses her telekinesis to just brutalize Jason for what feels like 10 minutes of the movie, where it's just a series of Jason getting his dick pushed in the dirt.
Probably Kane Hodder's best performance as Jason, too.
Yes.
It's a lot of mime.
What?
And it's very funny.
This is a similar idea. Jason is just going like, I didn't know you could do this.
I didn't know you could do this. When they walk in with the robot and she's like super badass now, and the dude who like whose sex bot she is like, I gave her an upload right after they had sex.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
He's talking about jizz. He came in this robot.
He came in the robot, and I guess that made her a quirky Matrix robot all of a sudden.
With machine guns.
Yeah.
It's like, well, the funny thing is she blasts Jason apart with a gun.
Yeah.
Didn't need her for that.
Yeah, you're right. Anybody could have done that with the right guns. Anybody could have
blasted him apart with that gun.
You just need futuristic guns. Yeah, these Space Marines were terrible.
They really
were bad.
They were really bad. They kept shooting him with the bullets that confirmed do not work.
Yeah, shoot him with the exploding bullets that this robot has. Seems easy.
Yeah, I don't know. Try something else. It's the future, isn't it? Where's the ray gun?
By pure amazing luck, though, she shoots Jason onto the nanobot machine. That makes you super awesome.
That makes him Uber Jason.
This is the thing, is like, we've seen the nanobot machine. All it does is heal people. And it's so funny that the nanobots this time are like, what if we made him awesome, this guy? The nanobots are like, we're so sick of being nanobots.
You see, Dave, his blood is made of hell. So when the nanobots came into contact with pure concentrated hell, they became evil themselves. And they were like, let's make this dude awesome.
I guess, here's a question. Every time they heal someone, are they naked? Is the idea it's like The Fly, where they're like, we're going to mix your machete and like, we're going to mix like your hockey mask in with you? Is that the implication?
It looks like that's what it did for him, specifically because the table was broken. So it fused part of like the table and shit.
Right. Him. And at this point, I want to note, like, do you think Jason's in hell? Do you think Jason just wants to die and wants peace? Because, like, at this point, he gets killed and he gets, by miraculous luck, resurrected. And I was thinking of Arnold in Last Action Hero, where he's just like every day they try, like it's that where it's like they kill. He's died. Jason has died like 4 or 5 times now, and it's just like at this point he must be like, why can't I die? Like he doesn't know, does he? Does he know why he's immortal?
I don't know. Does he know he's in the future?
And what's amazing about the nanobot thing is like all the other instances, he's like been resurrected or his rage. This time it's like pure dumb luck that he shot up into a resurrection machine. And so like to me that's like cosmic luck, right? Where he's been resurrected with telekinesis too.
He's been resurrected twice by electricity.
Yep, telekinesis.
And in hell, he's just kind of there.
Right, and so you realize that it's not that he's being resurrected because of his power to be resurrected. Like he's not rebuilding. He's not like reforming like a Borg ship.
He is in hell. Like his like little spirit or whatever starts infesting people.
Right. Oh no, in that one. I'm talking about the other instances where it's like he doesn't have a natural regeneration. He just keeps being coincidentally resurrected. So to me, that shows some sort of cosmic force doing this to him beyond his will. Like he's not creating the scenarios that resurrect him. It's just happening to him.
Yes.
So you have to wonder what he thinks about all that. Where he's like, man, they just won't let me die.
Right.
And I don't even know who they is.
Is he Sisyphus? Is what you're asking? Is he pushing this? Is this franchise just him endlessly pushing a boulder up the hill?
Yes, where he's just like, just let me die. Or the funnier version is, does he think this is the work of God and Jesus Christ? And Jason has like a cross on under his outfit,
Christian
and every time, Christian Jesus, and every time he's just like, blessed be his work.
He works in mysterious ways.
Yeah, he wants me to live. He wants me to continue my work on this earth. It's important to him. It's important work that I keep killing these people.
There's something really fun about picturing Jason wearing like a visor, listening to Christian rock.
Mm-hmm. I think it would be a really funny revelation and in a Jason movie, and it would be kind of breaking it. It'd be like a joke just for us that if one of the times they killed Jason, they notice the cross on him. They're just like, is he wearing a cross? And it's like a big one. It's like, yeah, has he been wearing a cross this whole time?
Yeah.
It would just raise so many questions about Jason.
He's wearing like a St. Christopher's medallion.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, what?
Yeah. Hold on, everybody. Jason's fucking watching Boondock Saints at home. Just like believing in like, it's like he thinks he's doing the Lord's work, like good moral work.
He starts writing Bible verses on his machete.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Is he Sisyphus is the question here. Because it feels like he is.
What's he being punished for?
I don't know.
For drowning as a little boy?
Apparently.
Well, he didn't die there.
Yeah, I just don't know. I just don't know what...
He did become a murderer before he died, so that's probably what he's being punished
is for. Is Freddy doing this to him? Is there... I guess the question is there a second party causing this to happen? Because if they are, they do have the power. It's like the Final Destination powers. It's like the level of God or death or the Satan.
Sort of force, yeah.
Yeah. He's turned into Super Jason. The bullets don't kill him, and you can tell he's immediately like both excited and enraged by this fact. That's why looking at his eyes in that scene as Super Jason, as Super Shredder Jason, it was like, is he mad or is he happy?
It's kind of both.
Right. And then I wrote the question, is that the same Jason? Is Jason, it's sort of that the ship of
Theseus?
Yeah, the ship of Theseus, which is like, is Jason still in there? Is his soul intact? Is he man or machine at this point? Who can say? You know, I'm not a philosopher.
No, and neither is Jason. He's just a simple man.
Yeah.
Trying to kill everything alive.
But he does very much do a Super Shredder here. He just starts going straight in a line and punching through everything that's in his way.
Yeah. I think so. I suspect then that Jason might just be driven by the need to murder everything.
Yes. Yeah, well, he's at his core self here. I'm trying to read my notes, and there's a cat's ass in front of me.
You can move the cat, Dave.
Rue? No, I can't. He's 20 pounds. Rue, go. Go. Don't just look at me. You're just looking at me. Rue? Rue, go. Don't step on the keyboard. Oh, my God. The hole is right in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
Rue? Rue? Sorry, everybody. All right. So, oh, my God. He's even more in front of it now. Oh, my God. Oh, my God, everybody. I'm moving my notes. So, like, all right. So at this point, oh, my God, Rue, I'm begging you.
Dave just picked the cat up and put it on the ground.
Ow. He freaked out. Keep all that in. All right. So then, yeah, at this point, it's like insect brain, right?
Yeah.
He's just sort of charging forward, and he's like, Jason, kill, Jason, kill.
Well, yeah, he's got all this super strength. He's just died for, I don't know, the
Right.
80th time.
Yeah. He gets on a holodeck, and this is where it's like insect brain, right? Because I'm like, does he know what a holodeck is? He gets this whoosh of like liquid over his body, turns him into a crystal lake. But he's not quite buying it. I love that he keeps seeing the people. So he's not like fully buying it. He kind of knows he's on a holodeck. And then they give him these two like babes, and he's like, I guess I should kill them.
Well, yeah, he's not going to not do that.
Right. And it kind of begs the question is like, does he care if the people he's killing are real or not?
No.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he does. He was disappointed when it was a hologram earlier.
Right.
But
yeah, you're right.
He's going to try either way. Sort of like when he stabbed through the tube earlier, the cryogenic pod.
Right.
Well, I'm going to give this a shot.
Yeah, and like, what is a soul? Again, there's a whole Star Trek about our holodeck characters real or not. He better kill them just in case they have a soul, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's collecting their souls. But it's so funny how unfazed he is, where he's like, I know you're doing this to distract me, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to play along. I'm going to kill these two campers. Because I want it.
It's like baiting a trap with food, and he's just sitting down and eating it, but glaring at you the whole time.
Exactly. That is what he's doing. He goes, oh crap, he saw me, and then when they say like he's buying it, I'm like, I don't think he's buying it. I just think he's like, I'll kill you after I kill these people.
Right, because he seems to know something's off.
Yeah, and
like,
he also
he's like,
knows.
Okay, I know I was just in like a bunch of hallways and a spaceship, and now all of a sudden I'm in the woods. I think this is weird.
Right. And I think Jason has also figured one thing out, which is that when there's a cluster of people, he knows he'll be able to kill most of them, except for maybe one or two. So he'll look at the group and go like, well, there's still like 4 of you left, so I'm definitely going to kill some more of you. Like that's how it goes, right? Is until he's stopped. He usually gets down to 1 or 2 people.
He does pretty well at thinning it out, yeah.
Yeah. He walks through the explosion without even giving a shit. Goes right through the hologram. Does not even... Like, that's the thing. He walks through the hologram because he knows it's a hologram.
Well, he probably can't feel the heat or anything.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I just mean, like, he walks through, like, what is the wall of a cabin, essentially. When he's walking, there's this explosion around him, and he's walking, and it just shows that he definitely knows it's a hologram, because he knows that wall that he's about to walk through isn't real.
Like we said earlier, he will suddenly understand complex systems if it means killing someone.
He gets blown up, and gets flung into space, and he somehow knows how to push his body. Does he go? Wait, I think we missed. He goes into space twice, I think.
He's propelled by the. Oh, right. They blast.
Sorry, we missed it.
They blast him. That dude
before
Waylander
the holodeck
blows him up in the hallway, and he gets launched out into space. But then he stabs his way back inside, and that's when the one lady gets sucked out.
He fights the vacuum of space and just casually gets in. And so now he's kind of used to space, and this time they blow up the ship. and he basically just aims his fucking body for the escape pod, and we get the funniest shot in the fucking movie, which is Jason in space with his arms out,
just
going
flying toward them.
Yeah, Jason is rocketing at speeds he can't possibly comprehend. Having been ejected from it implies that he's also able to like do the Matrix, where he's like slowing down time to calculate, where he's like, I need to push off.
He definitely
and make sure the explosion propels me right for these people.
He understands weightlessness and how to travel through a vacuum.
Yeah. Again, it also goes to the idea, is Jason doing this stuff or is it being done to Jason? Because he also might just have natural, like, a course correction, like where his body is naturally magnetized to wherever the next person to kill is.
That's true. That's true north for him.
Yeah, because he just gets there. But then he is shoved into Earth 2's atmosphere and burns up, but probably doesn't, and lands in a new crystal lake, which again, he's now at the bottom of a lake, and it's like
on Earth 2.
On Earth 2, and it's again, how cosmically lucky is it that he's now in a new like crystal lake with there's teenagers fucking right there. It really feels like he was put on this earth to do this specific thing.
He is destined to do this.
Yeah, or rather it does feel like he is being Truman Showed. Like this is all his world. And we're NPCs for him.
Maybe it is.
Yeah. Should we talk about second best monsters?
I think so.
All right. So again, so I want to do a little like meta thing. Whenever I'm trying to get all the names down, I have to go on the wiki. I pause it. I'm like, because I'm so bad with faces, and they only briefly say the names usually.
Yeah.
And one of the key things is that I look to see who's fucking who, because that makes it really easy. Where you're like, okay, that person is in a relationship with that person. All these fucking snow roaches looked exactly the same. They dressed in the same outfits. They had the same 2000s haircuts, and they were all fucking multiple people.
Yes.
And it was like, you're making this impossible. I wrote down David Cronenberg, the director, not the character, just for being in this movie.
Insisting to be in the movie.
Yeah, but then also Dr. Wimmer, who is doing fuck all. Like we said, he's doing like a Jurassic Park with Jason. He wants his DNA. He's mad scientist.
To clarify, Wimmer is the character Cronenberg is playing.
Yeah.
Yeah. He wants his Jason Park.
Yeah. KM, who's named KM14 officially, which implies that there was 13 more.
He's been perfecting that sex bot.
Yeah.
The first one was a dustbuster with a bow on it.
Yeah. And a fleshlight.
Yeah.
Or like a cantaloupe with a hole in it taped to it. He just replaces the cantaloupe every time.
Tape a calculator to the side of a cantaloupe. It's my android.
Yeah, that's the thing is like, so the robot isn't really like, she didn't ask for any of this. Fucking Tesneron, what's his fucking name? Peyton. He is the creator.
Sooneron?
He gave her metal nipples, as we see. He's in a relationship with Janessa.
He's not.
But doesn't he fuck Janessa?
No, that's a different guy.
See, this is what I'm talking about.
Janessa fucks the professor.
Here's the thing.
It's the only person she fucks.
No. So here's the thing.
Right.
If you Google him on the Friday the 13th wiki, I believe they say he is in a relationship with Janessa. Oh, it depends on the wiki. All right, that's interesting. There's multiple wikis.
Huh.
Because that's the world we live in.
Mm-hmm.
So according to Friday13th.fandom.com, he is the boyfriend of Janessa. And I thought there was a scene where they make out or they fuck or something. I could have sworn they had a relationship. Again, it's hard to tell. They all look the same and everything's very dark. But regardless of that, he made a fuck robot.
Right, his relationship's with the robot.
Yeah. It's hard to sell. I thought she fucks multiple people, but
I don't
maybe
think
not.
so, man. I don't think
She
so.
fucks. Okay, well, who's the other one?
I think it's just a symptom of them all looking alike.
There's a part where a person with short brown, a lady with brown hair fucks a dude with short hair.
Yeah, that's the guy that's Stoney.
There's
That's the
Stoney.
guy that gets
There's
stabbed
Stoney.
and dragged off.
But I could have sworn when they're fucking, they cut to other people fucking too. I could have sworn.
I thought it was just them and Janessa and the professor.
Oh,
Janesser.
Man. Janesser. I don't know, man. My theory was that the writer has an ex named Vanessa, and he made Janessa just be like sleeping around.
During that scene is when they cut to the professor, they cut to Stoney and his girlfriend, and they cut to Wonder Boy putting nips on his robot. Because she asks him for nipples because Janessa has them. Because she wants to be more real and be in a relationship with him.
No, that's what I thought too.
But that's what I'm saying.
Makes sense.
During that sequence, they don't cut to those two, Janessa and Cenarion having sex, because what he's doing in that montage is giving his robot nipples, and Janessa's boning the professor in that sequence.
All right, so Stoney is her brother for sure.
Okay.
Janessa.
Glad we're getting working all this out.
It's exhausting, man.
I know.
It's like, because I also see, like, let's see. There's multiple things that say, like, Stoney is her brother, and then what's his fuck is her boyfriend. I've seen that. It's hard. Peyton is fucking the maniac for making the sex robot, right? We've established that. Who also, he has a Matrix upload that he does to her.
Yeah,
so she's like a combat. Yeah, combat/sex robot. Yeah, he programmed his dick. Janessa is definitely at least fucking the professor for good grades. Kinsa, basically, she's fucking Stoney.
Yeah,
and then she doesn't realize he's dead. She has like a trauma response, and then she dies by crashing a ship into another ship. So that's her monster.
She takes the escape pod without disconnecting the fuel line, so it explodes.
Yeah. The only ones I have that are major people. So I noted Crutch seems like he has a backstory. He was the guy I related to the most because he's like a 40-year-old overweight guy stuck on a ship with a bunch of hot young kids fucking.
And he
seems to be, and he's just not interested in it.
Yeah, he's like, God damn it, I'm just down here trying to work on my circuit boards.
And like Lou's like, you want to hang out? We're the only old guys. And he's like, I don't like you, Lou. I got to be honest,
Lou's got perv energy.
Yeah.
I don't care for Lou.
He references the Microsoft conflict and says they're beating each other with their own limbs. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, what is that? What's your history, Crutch?
Well, I'm sure it's a euphemism.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know how they'll say, I don't know, they'll say like fighting with pots and pans,
Yeah, I've never heard that term. So I'm like, I know he's doing it like a joke in the moment.
Right. Like we were fighting them with sticks and rocks is basically, that's how I took it.
Oh,
but
yeah,
I hope they were literally beating them with limbs.
It's more like, what is the Microsoft conflict? And like, it's clear that Crutch has seen some shit because he doesn't react to all the murders that much.
That's
true. He doesn't seem that
maybe
fazed
he was
by
being
them.
literal. Yeah, maybe the Microsoft conflict was when we went and destroyed the Bill Gates android by pummeling him with dismembered limbs.
Right. Adrian, the intern who gets her head frozen, I just have to note how horny she is about taking out Jason's eyeball.
Oh, she's into it.
Come to mama. And then who's the two who get horny watching Jason's autopsy? That's
Kinza and Stoney.
Right. They're like, let's go watch Faces of Death and fuck.
Right. Yeah. She's the one that says, "Oh, I bet he's hung. Let's go fuck." It's like we're cutting open a wet, smelly zombie.
Yeah.
I understand it's deeply erotic, but please be professional.
Yeah, but my God.
Yeah.
Kicker, I just want to note he looks really rad. He looks like a kid in a Sega commercial all grown up.
He behaves like a kid in a Sega commercial. He does a flip and kicks Jason.
Yes. It's also fun. No, that's Condor.
Oh.
Condor does the flip. Kicker was hard because there's Kicker I thought was two people at one point, depending on the lighting. Kicker is the guy, there's all these Space Marines and they're all like buff and stuff, and then Kicker is like this scrawny honky.
Oh, he's the guy that gets cut in half, right?
Yeah, he gets cut in half. Dallas, director of the movie, so he's of course a monster. I just noted that he looks like Stone Cold.
He does. It's a look he's clearly cultivated, but it works for him.
Yeah. And so that leaves and shout out any other monsters that I missed, but Professor Brandon
He
Lowe.
wrote Drive Angry, and he's also in Drive Angry.
Okay, so he is a monster. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's a maniac.
The best kind of monster.
The best.
I just remembered he's in Drive Angry.
That's awesome.
He's like the anyway, we'll get into it later.
Yeah. Professor Brandon Lowe is running some sort of cult, like some sort of grift in space. Like what
like a university grift? What university is crediting this research?
And this makes sense because the only person who would kidnap Jason's frozen body is a guy who's seconds away from handcuffs. Because that's what you get the vibe of, is that this is like the decline of a grift, where he's fucking his students in space, going to Earth to salvage stuff. He's using the students as cheap labor, is what he's actually doing. So he's working this grift where, like, he got a bunch of students, said, you will get college credit to be my, like, space slaves, basically.
Essentially,
and also,
yeah.
I'm going to fuck you guys while dressed in, like, a blouse and get my nipples clamped.
It was evening wear.
It's evening, yeah. It's nice.
Yeah,
It's
it was
comfy.
nice. It was nice. It was she's tweaking his nips with forceps, pretty sweet.
Yeah,
chugging a
yells,
bottle of
"You
champagne.
Pass. Yeah,
They have an incredible relationship.
they do.
She put on she's wearing a dominatrix costume. Like her hair is slicked back. She's wearing like full leather. She changed for this.
Yes, she has a wig, I think.
You're right. It's shorter hair.
That's part of the fucking problem with this movie.
Yeah.
Is it's like, why are you in disguise? We were making it so hard for me. It's like they designed it to make it hard for me.
They have a whole routine, man. They are such established sexual partners.
Right. And I like, it's so transactional that, like, I don't really, it's funny because they're both, she's over 18 and Janessa clearly is like, I know what I'm doing. I'm doing this for grades. And he's like, you're doing this for grades. And they're like, so it's agreed. Handshake on it. It's such a business transaction that I'm like, I don't feel like obviously, like, it's bad dynamic. There's a reason why professors get in trouble for this, but it's like in this one case, I'm like, they both seem to be like have an agreement of what they're doing here.
Right. I mean, it's skeezy because, he probably, I don't know. It's hard to tell. Who initiated it. But yeah, it's like, well, she's an adult.
Yeah.
Who cares?
And again, it's very transactional.
And also, yeah.
But like,
and clearly they have an established routine, so they do this a lot.
Yeah, it's the least of his worries because he is apparently so broke that he is trying to sell a murderer's corpse. Like, this man is at rock bottom.
Yeah, I don't know how he's affording the spaceship because it's definitely a rental.
Well, I think that brings us to our next person, Perez, who I'm pretty sure is his financier. Like, he's the guy who's like who's like his agent, because this guy who he calls and he's like lounging in bed and he's like, I found some bodies. He notes the alive person, and they seem to imply that maybe they would sell her into slavery. Because his reaction is like, no one fucking cares anymore about frozen ladies. And it's old news. And I'm like,
the professor tells him people will come to see her. So he is talking about Jason Park.
Yes. Well, first he's talking about enslaving the lady and being like, I'm going to send, like, where he's like, I got 2 bodies here. One of them is intact and alive. Do you want her as, like, I don't know, a slave or an attraction? The implication is that something really dark happened. That right before Earth shit the bed, people froze themselves out of fear. And then everybody sort of moved to Earth too. And now there are salvage teams finding the frozen people, right? And picking them up. And what we're getting is that there's like a black market for the frozen people.
Mm-hmm.
That I don't think in the future they have no rights. I think the government would be cracking down on this, where they realize that those people are considered not people. They're off the grid. They're considered dead. And so it's
you
like,
wouldn't
because
have
they're
whatever
dead,
the 24th century or 25th century equivalent of a social security number is.
Right. And because they're legally dead, what you're supposed to do legally is probably bring them back to Earth and go, they're not dead. They get a social security, but there's a separate black market that this professor and this fucking scumbag Perez is participating in, where they're like putting them to something else. It reminds me, there's a Star Trek called The Most Toys, where there's a collector, who steals data.
Saul Rubinek, isn't it? Oh, no, wait. Yes, it is.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's that. That's what Perez is. He's like a collector guy.
They do give a fun, brief detail about this universe because the dude says, big deal, we got a lot of unfrozen people walking around. Like thousands. And the professor's like, yeah, but they're only like 250 years old. This lady's like over 400. It's the oldest frozen person yet.
Right.
So that tells us a lot about the universe that we're living in. This isn't super uncommon.
It also tells you something crazy about Cronenberg's character, which is that when they were doing that, it sounds like, considering that people froze themselves earlier, to me, I interpret that as, so the world was probably on its way out when Cronenberg was like, I'm trying to make Jasons. And so, like, I don't know what his plan was for the world. I guess he was trying to save the world, probably.
Probably. Well, if it's 200 years, right? Because, if the oldest people that had frozen themselves were from 200 years ago, then
you're right. It's the other way.
200 years
I'm going
after
the other way.
Cronenberg.
Yeah. You're right. Never. So it just means he was freezing people before it was cool.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Before it was cool, get it? Cool, cold.
Nice. Excellent.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is just baffling. It's just what is the plan? He also, when he mentions Jason, he goes, it's not. Or does he mention Voorhees? And he goes, it's not Jason Voorhees, is it? So this guy also just knows, like, it also implies that Jason is like a very, like a fucking, like a very rare collectible that people are on the lookout for.
It also implies something different. It does imply that, but like the degree to it, because they don't know what bicycles are. She's like, what's a bike? Hockey. They don't know what hockey is.
Yeah.
I think there's something else.
Why wouldn't there be bikes on Earth too?
Don't know.
Yeah. What's Earth 2
They have Camp Crystal Lake.
Yeah.
They have tank tops. They have spaghetti straps. We see like a normally dressed teenage couple at the end.
Their hover car at Crystal Lake, I guess.
But it implies that Jason was more culturally and historically significant than the bicycle or hockey.
Yeah, you're right.
Because he is still remembered 455 years later.
You know what? He is. Because he's the only person who probably scientifically confirmed is immortal.
That's true.
There's one immortal. That also explains why this guy would know.
Because he was sitting in that facility. They knew where he was.
Right.
They were probably using him to study their freezing technology.
Yeah. Here's what's weird. Is this guy Perez, he goes like, it's not Jason Voorhees, and he goes, oh, that guy must have killed like 600 people. He's worth something. You'd think he'd be like, oh, we've been looking for that guy because he's immortal. Like, because here's in my head canon is that Earth 1 died. Everybody moved, right? Mm-hmm. And in moving, they said, whatever happened to the one immortal guy? Certainly he's still there, right?
Let's just leave him there.
Right, but you know that would be the stuff of legend where they're like, he's like Bigfoot, where it's like Jason is still somewhere on Earth 1. And whenever we do a salvage, be careful because he's technically still active down there.
Yeah.
He's not dead.
Right.
And
he's
so
just
like
locked in a box underground like Doomsday.
Right, but they don't even know, right? They don't know that he's frozen necessarily. That was a secret government facility.
Oh.
You just don't know. That's what I mean is that for the general public, all they know is Earth died, but there was one immortal guy there. Certainly he didn't die with Earth. So it's like, it would be like saying, I found Bigfoot's body, where you're like, oh shit, that guy's the stuff of legend. Yeah. It's just a weird dynamic because Perez is like, oh, that guy, he killed people. Well, yeah, he's worth money.
Historically significant, right? It'd be like, even if they were a big piece of shit, like if you found Hitler's body. I don't know.
Yes, but I'm just saying what is notable about Jason isn't that he killed people. It's that he can't die.
Right.
That would be the bigger thing this guy would go, oh, you mean the immortal guy?
Right, because we know that it's known. Cronenberg was basing his research on that conceit that Jason's immortal. And he was locked in a government facility.
Yeah.
They weren't the last people to go into that facility. Somebody else walked in there over the course of 400 years.
Apparently not.
As far as
he killed everybody, and apparently the government was just like, what happened with that facility? Whatever.
We stopped hearing from them, so Jason got out.
Probably best.
All right, well, let's probably just not open that door ever again.
Yeah, we got bigger fish to
It's
fry.
the beginning of Walking Dead. Don't open, dead inside.
Yeah, exactly. Jason inside.
Jason inside. Well, I don't know what I was expecting.
Yeah. But yeah, that's all to say. Perez is a dark, dark man.
Oh,
he,
yeah.
He has some...
He is a human trafficker.
Yep.
So is the professor.
Yes.
He's going to human traffic our main character.
You could argue the professor is more insidious because he's working with college kids.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, at least Perez seems to know what he is, you know?
Yeah, he's a pretty upfront scumbag.
Yeah.
Most fences tend to be.
Yeah. Any other monsters?
The leader of the Marines,
Brodsky.
Brodsky.
Brodsky. I mean, he's a hero. Well, I was going to get into that in the next segment.
No, that's true. Yeah, not monster. Yeah.
No, he's a different kind of monster.
Yeah.
Should we do death?
I guess Janessa. We already talked about Janessa, right?
Yeah, Janessa is. Yeah. Just give her a normal name.
Yeah.
It's the future, I guess. They're trying to do future names.
Yeah, she's real wacky. I guess she's not that much of a monster, except when she says, when Rowan's like, I don't think Jason's out there. She's like, well, why don't you poke your head out there and take a look?
Oh, yeah. She's kind of a prick.
A little bit. Not too bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Didn't deserve to get sucked through a grate.
No.
Unless we got to see it.
She does say a pun right before she gets sucked through a grate, and that's weird.
She
that's
does.
Kind of a sociopath thing to do, is like, I'm dying and I'm going to make it a joke.
But isn't it also heroic?
Yeah, a little bit.
Isn't it also Fry getting carried off by a pterodactyl?
This is a cool way to die. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I hope I have the wherewithal to say that if I die in a volcano or
I think about that
crash.
too all the time, which is that like I hope I get to say something cool. I'll probably just go like and then I'll die.
Right.
I won't even say words. I'll just sputter and then I'll die.
Yep.
Yeah. I always think about that with like famous last words where they're probably like, tell them it's this. Like Oscar Wilde or whoever, like probably just goes like, tell them I said this.
I know some people have them pre-written.
Yeah, I would too. Yeah.
But yeah, it's that line from Strange Days where Sizemore is like, oh God, that's like statistically people's last words. That and shit.
Yeah, exactly.
That's definitely my last word is almost certainly going to be shit.
It's going to be like shit. Yeah, exactly. Oh, fuck.
Or like shit.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Oh shit.
Jason has said that to himself many times.
Yeah.
Oh shit. All right.
Death rank. Speaking of dying, so I'll just go through them all. Our lab tech at the beginning, unseen, killed and used to replace Jason.
Mm-hmm.
I had to count the bodies because we don't see. So we have the SEAL team guy who's choked with a chain. We have another SEAL team guy who's killed off camera.
Mm-hmm.
David Cronenberg, he gets scorpioned.
Yeah.
Shotgun guard gets thrown to a door and seems to lose the will to live.
Yeah, I assume Jason just pummeled him so his organs collapsed internally.
Yep. Adrian
gets her face
liquid
frozen.
Nitrogen.
It's the one everybody remembers. And it's probably the best, but let's keep going.
Yeah. Stoney stabbed through the chest with machete. Classic.
Mm-hmm. Dragged off like Dracula.
Yep. Azrael is snapped in half on a holodeck.
He kind of gets two. He gets his arm chopped off too.
That's
pretty
true.
Sweet.
Dallas gets his face bashed against a holodeck wall.
Weak.
I feel like the director was like, I'll take the lame death. You all get the good deaths. Sven pulled aside and neck broken.
Pretty sweet.
Condor clotheslined off a balcony into a space drill, slowly drilled. Someone says he's screwed.
Screw you!
Yep. Gecko throat slit from behind.
Yep. It's pretty
Kicker.
classic.
Yeah, Kicker cut in half somehow. That's amazing.
Well, he turns his back to Jason, which a lot of people do in this movie.
Yeah.
He's impaled him on the anchor. Anyway.
Briggs is.
Oh, I mean, Kicker impaled Jason on the anchor and turned around, and Jason chopped him in half when he turned around.
Oh, I just mean the sheer force of being chopped in half by a machete is incredible. Yeah.
It's Jason.
Briggs is impaled on a giant space anchor, which doesn't make any sense. Lou slashed to pieces.
Yeah,
while piling the ship.
I guess he ate Lou. He's got to be eating some of these people.
The Solaris space station genocided, 9/11. So I looked this up because apparently there's a novelization called Jason X the Experiment, which mentions Solaris as a city and has a city-like population. There's a Reddit thread about this. No one has calculated the exact body count, but it's somewhere probably in the millions.
Yeah.
Imagine like St. Louis.
Yeah.
He
just blew up St. Louis.
So that's all to say that it's hard to calculate the body count of this movie because it's in the millions.
Right, because he did a 9/11 in space.
He did. But it's a 9/11 times 1,000. It's a big 9/11. Professor Brandon Lowe killed off camera, his head stabbed on machete.
He gets a little head puppet, though. That's fun.
Yeah. Crutch slammed into electronics, fried to death.
Really agonizingly long.
Yes.
Jason smashes him into that over and over again.
Yeah. So Kinsai just realized doesn't count. I'm taking her off. She kills herself.
She does, yeah.
Yeah, she 9/11, she does her own little 9/11, so I'm taking her off the list. Waylander also blows himself up trying to kill Jason.
Yep.
So I'm taking him off. Janessa, I'm going to count it. Sucked into space through
Jason ruptures the
mesh.
hull. They're literally about to walk off into safety, and Jason ruptures the hull.
All right. Now, this is controversial, but I included the holodeck babes because, again, Professor Moriarty had a soul in Star Trek. Who's to say they don't? So one of them is smashed in a sleeping bag and then against a tree. The other one is smashed by the other.
See, they're kills that Jason thinks they're kills.
Exactly.
If they counted to him, they count.
Brodsky dies twice. So Brodsky is yanked through a wall, stabbed twice in the ribs, says, yeah, that ought to do it, is found, revived, hit by Jason, slammed, has his body repaired. Then he fights Jason on an exploding spaceship. As the spaceship explodes, he flies into Jason, hit Jason's body into Earth's atmosphere, like a sled, like he's Chris O'Donnell in fucking Batman and Robin, riding the fucking
screaming down to Earth 2, plants into the Crystal Lake like a fence post.
And I'm not even sure that killed him. So
I don't know if he's dead.
Yeah. Brodsky might be hanging out with Jason, being like, so I guess we're both immortal.
Right. Because it seems like he can't die.
Yeah.
He tackles Jason out of space.
He is kind of incredible.
Yeah. I wrote down, he is officially the raddest dude in the entire franchise, second only to Jason.
Yeah. Rad is specific because he literally surfs Jason's body.
Yes, it is radical.
Into the Earth's atmosphere.
Screaming down to the planet.
That's just something you do in a Mountain Dew commercial or something. Just it's like a Slim Jim ad.
Like a shard from heaven.
Yeah. Incredible. Yeah, it's biblical.
It's a fallen
biblical
angel
thing to do.
screaming to Earth.
Yeah, so Brodsky does probably one of the most amazing things anybody's ever done in the history of civilization. Riding Jason Voorhees' body into Earth 2.
It's definitely the hardest one man has ever killed another man.
Yes. That's assuming they die.
Right.
But yeah. Incredible fucking... It sort of makes up for a lot of the movie having very boring kills. Yeah. Where I'm I feel like they did imagine this one idea and they're like...
This last offer is pretty great. It's so huge.
It's amazing. So which is the best, though? Because Brodsky is technically not a kill, for the record.
Yeah, I feel we need a different award for Brodsky.
Yeah, I think Adrian is the obvious pick because she's so iconic, right?
Yeah, I think so. I
think I'm fine going with that because I think the drill is cool, but it's he's screwed or whatever. I'm come on. I think Nitrogen, it's simple, it's effective. It feels like a Jason kill, and what I mean by that is he does a lot of head slams in general. That's how they have him kill somebody when they need to just have it done real quick.
Yeah, or he squishes their head. He does a lot of bare hand stuff. I'm going to kill you immediately with my hands.
Right, and people are probably thinking, like, why don't we include the 9/11? I don't think quantity doesn't equal quality. I think for Jason, it's about, like, fundamentals.
Right.
And it's just, like, freeze someone's head, smash their head. Yeah.
How entertaining was it to watch? How whimsical. He doesn't even know. He doesn't even know he killed all these people.
No, he doesn't know that.
So yeah. I think I'm going with Liquid Nitrogen because it's classic. It's the one everybody remembers. And more specifically because Brodsky doesn't count.
Yes.
Because otherwise it would be tombstone pile driving Jason into the earth from the upper atmosphere.
Oh, yeah. But it's technically not. We don't even know if Jason's dead in this, and I'm just
we know he's probably not.
Yeah. Yeah. So I feel good about that.
Yeah.
All right. I think we did some great work here. We did
something here. We really did something. We came together and we made history here.
Yep. Only 2 more episodes, and then we decide what the best kill of all is. Big thank you to Krishnanovich, our producer. As always, this was terrific. Thank you all for listening. If you're interested, we have a Patreon. That's how this got made. Patreon.com/Gamefully Unemployed. GAMEFULLY Unemployed. We have exclusive podcasts on there for just $5 a month. You get access to Tom and Jeff Watch Batman, Fox Mulder is a Maniac, Star Trek The Next Futurama, and Spiel Boys. For a little more, we watch movies every Friday night. We have watched Jason X, and we will watch Jason X again. And we have other tiers like this one that you produce your own podcast series. So check it out. There's lots of things on there. Give it a look-see.
Yeah. We also have a store. Head over to GamefullyUnemployed.com. You can find a link to our Teespring store. We have all kinds of cool original artwork by cool original artists like Starlene Hodge, Michael Vincent Bramley, Justin Brown, others. We've got, I don't think we have any Jason stuff, but we've got a bunch of cool, funny stuff.
I think we do have a Jason.
We do have a Jason? Okay, cool.
Yeah, we have a Gamefully Unemployed Jason thing.
We do! That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
So check that out. Check out our new show, Badical, Badical.
Yeah.
It's an improv show. It's just pure jokes. A lot different from what we normally do. So go check that out wherever you listen to podcasts.
Do it.
And reviews? Yeah, reviews.
Yeah, rate and review and have a great Jason.
Keep him tucked in your heart.
Yeah, like a worm, like a heart worm.
Like a worm full of hell blood.
Yeah.
I want hell blood.
Yeah, I bet he's warm all the time.
Can you imagine that? Imagine how cool that would be to get it on your
jacket.
Right. Just how cool it would be on your driver's license. Blood type.
Hell blood. Hell. Oh, you could probably pull that. I got to go to the DMV this year, so
just write it in if they won't give it to you.
Yeah, and then not refuse to leave until they do, and get on the news.
Yeah. Prove it's not.
All right. Yeah, prove my blood's not hell.
Prove it.
Yeah, cut me open. All right. Bye.
Later.